A lot of this album, as I said before, is allowing myself to be ugly and grotesque and a little bit evil. And I'm just throwing menstrual blood, titties in your face. Queer joy and like my ass is out. It is the main display. It is the masterpiece in this gallery. And she'll literally look at me like, what the f are you doing? Hi, I'm Ashnikko, and this is my track-by-track breakdown for Weedkiller for making the album.
Welcome to Making the Album, Ashnikko. It's an honor to have you. How are you?
I am a ball of nerves, and I feel sick to my stomach because my album is coming out tomorrow, and yeah, I'm having a very tumultuous day, but good all around. How are you?
I'm good. Well, yeah, for context for the listeners, like this is being recorded the day before the album comes out, but obviously this album's like highly anticipated, years in the making. How does it feel to finally release it, and what's the journey been like for you?
Yeah, I feel like those years have gone by so quickly. For me, it felt like it happened very fast, I guess. Time really does that. Time has a habit of slipping through our hands. I had such a good time writing this album. I was just like reflecting back, thinking about how joyful it was and like how much fun I had. And I think that's at the core of good music making, is just like having fun. So yeah, I'm happy that I get to share that process with the world now.
And you've said that Weedkiller started as a short story. How did that evolve into an album?
I think with a lot of my songs, I like to have a visual world in mind, and I like to have little snippets of stories, like a little synopsis of a story. I did that for Daisy. I did that for a lot of songs on Demidevils, and before that. With this one, I had like the short synopsis, and I was like, wait, I actually have to flesh this out. So I wrote a short story. So my main character is this like tool maker in this fae, I call them Nim, in this Nim utopia, and they have their forest destroyed by weed killers, and the story is about them finding home again, finding community. Their wings were torn out of their backs, so it's about building new wings and like finding that energy source, that power within themselves again. And yeah, so I wrote that short story, and then a couple days later or the next day, I don't remember the timeline, but I wrote Weedkiller the song, and then Weedkiller the song kind of informed those two pieces of the puzzle, informed the rest of the album.
Amazing. Well, so to fully immerse ourselves in the Weedkiller universe, we're going to do a track-by-track breakdown of the album. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so track 1, World Eater, absolutely adore this song. It sort of feels like the opening of a post-apocalyptic movie. Why was it important for you to make it the opening track?
So, funny you should say that, because I was listening to a lot of Hans Zimmer at the time. I had just seen Dune in theaters, and I was blown away by this musical score. It just was so gorgeous, and it really transported you to the world, and I think Hans Zimmer is a genius. And I went to my executive producer Slinger, and I was like, we have to approach this album like Hans Zimmer. We have to approach it like we're scoring a film, and I want you to keep in mind these post-apocalyptic themes, as well as like these more organic sounds that kind of showcase, that kind of like symbolize the fae utopia that existed before the weed killers came and turned it into a wasteland. So it's about like marrying those two. We had a lot of like organic Foley and like post-apocalyptic sirens, and I just wanted it to feel very foreboding. And with this song, it's definitely, there are songs on the album that are in theme. They are in the film in my head, and this is one of the fight scenes. and it's about my lead character. I've named her Aster, Aster, and she's become very hardened by this wasteland. I call the wasteland the waste woods. And she's become hardened by the waste woods and hardened by her own rage and just grief, and she's become kind of a shell, a husk of what she once was, and she's on this quest to avenge her family and her lover, her forest, and through this she finds herself becoming a villain of some kind, because I feel like in any good like post-apocalyptic movie or TV show, the lead characters also have a dark side and are not wholly good. So in the song it says the wickedest survive. So you've got to be like hard as and you've got to be a little broken to survive in this apocalyptic landscape.
Yeah, it's really complex. I mean, you talked about saving the forest as well. The album has been described as a climate crisis conceptual opus. Obviously, the climate crisis doesn't work its way that much into pop music. How did you find it working its way into your writing?
I mean, I'm no like expert on the climate crisis. I wouldn't call myself an activist in that way, just because I don't have all of the knowledge to be speaking on it in that way. But I love my planet. I love our planet, and I love our home, and I think of it as a very sentient, magical place, especially the natural world, the plant world, and I feel so much sadness for what we are doing to it. And during the pandemic, I did a lot of mushrooms. I did a lot of a lot of magic mushrooms. That was my main activity during the pandemic. So I came out of that with this very deep grief and heartbreak for what we're doing to the planet. And I think through that, it kind of deepened my sense of self and rooted me to the land that I was on. I was back home for a lot of this, in the place that I was born, which is very special to me. And I think for me, like the most important part of connecting to a place and to a home and making a home is to know my plant neighbors. And I think through that experience of just like being more observant of the natural world, I found myself, I guess, and deepened that sense of self, and like really really stepped into the person that I think I have always wanted to be. And that went hand in hand with my appreciation of the natural world and feeling a huge sadness for what we're doing to the planet and a feeling of hopelessness. But I feel there is hope, and there are things that we can be doing, and I'm educating myself on how to be a more ethical human being on the planet and being nicer and kinder and gentler to our home.
Well, I feel like you can hear both the hope and the hopelessness in the album. There's that dichotomy. Switching to track 2, You Make Me Sick, different vibe. This was the first single. I find it so cathartic to listen to, especially that I'm mad in the pre-chorus. How cathartic is it to write a song like that?
Oh, incredibly. I think this song was like I had like a little thorn in my side, and I had just not pulled it out yet. And I was like, it kind of came at the end of writing the album, and I was like, there's still like a little splinter that I have in my side that needs to be pulled out. And this was me extracting that. And I really just needed to rage. My executive producer Slinger, he played me this beat, and he just like went home and left me to have a little catharsis have like an exorcism, I guess, in the studio. And I was with my dog, and she was there, and she was watching me, and she was like, whoa. She was like, Mom, are you okay? So there's a bit in the recording you can hear right before the second verse. I say, Mommy's okay. And I was really talking to my dog. That was me genuinely talking to her, like, yeah, Mommy's okay. Like, I'm not dying.
Literally just about to ask this because the fans had said that this ad-lib came from you speaking to Wednesday. Does Wednesday often like inspire or work her way into your music?
That's a good question. I mean, I guess this is her first muse moment. But yeah, she's in the studio with me a lot. She helps me to like, okay, so if I'm having writer's block and I take a little ear break, I take her on a walk, and we like look each other in the eyes, and we have a little telepathic communication. And I think she just reminds me that there are other things outside of my little microcosm of writer's block and anxiety. And yeah, she's a little therapy dog in a way. But sometimes I'll have a panic attack, and she'll literally look at me like, what the f*** are you doing? And she'll just walk away. So she could use some training, but
dogs are therapy, but they also ground you.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, enough of this. You've had quite a few cries this week. You've reached your quota. So yeah, but this is her first muse moment for sure.
Brilliant. We love a debut. Okay, track 3, Worms. This song is about the world ending, and we've obviously discussed that you've sort of touched on these themes, but did anything in particular inspire you to write this song?
So I had a very clear visual world when writing this song. I wanted it to feel like a mix between Tank Girl, Mad Max, I guess. Yeah, I was watching a lot of Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. So there was bits of that made its way into the lyrics of this song. I wanted it to also feel like Bjork's Army of Me video where she's in the big truck. I just had this vision of like this like heroine with like a big sword in this giant truck, just fighting their way through the Weedkillers. And I wanted someone to listen to the song and be able to step into that world. So I used a lot of visual language and really tried to paint the picture.
Yeah, you can really see that. And I mean, do you have a survival plan? Like if the apocalypse started tomorrow, how likely are you to survive?
I have a high probability of making it to the end because I have done many survival trainings, and I love learning how to provide for myself if everything went to shit.
Would Wednesday survive with you?
Oh, hell yeah. I actually have a friend who has a survival like emergency kit for his dog, like a doggy gas mask situation. So yeah, Wednesday's getting the full survivalist makeover. We'll get her like a little utilitarian doggy vest. Yeah. She's coming along for the ride.
Okay, track 4, Super Circa featuring Daniela Lolita. Now, you and Daniela sort of feel like kindred spirits. How did that friendship start, and how did you end up collaborating?
Me and Daniela get along super well. I feel like we have a sort of similar frenzied ritualistic approach to making music, and she is so much fun to make music with. We were like snapping twigs in the studio and like crumbling leaves into the mic and like just like having a good time and really trying to channel what the song was about into the room. Because I feel like sometimes people are songwriting about something really, really personal and really dark, but the room feels like no one's in it. We're not going like full method. And I think we did do that. She also produced Possession of a Weapon with Oscar Scheller, and she's just an incredible multi-hyphenate genius. And Super Soaker was so special because I got to really write about this fairy world that I had dreamed up in my little noggin, and she lended her voice and her ideas and her magic to it in such a beautiful way. This song is about like stepping into a fairy queen's fairy circle and getting stuck and caught in their world of pleasure and falling in love and not being able to leave but not wanting to, and so staying there and dancing until your feet bleed and falling in love and kind of worshiping this divine fae queen. And yeah, it felt right to have Daniela on that.
Yeah, she's the perfect fit. I mean, you've already worked with so many iconic people. Obviously, you've worked with Grimes, Princess Nokia. You've had people like Khalees sampled in your work and stuff like that. How does a collab with you usually come about, and is there anyone still on your bucket list?
I have a lot of people on my bucket list. You asked how me and Daniela, how that collab came about. I honestly think it was just Instagram. I just messaged her. I was like, I think
Perfect.
You're incredible and I'm obsessed with you. Both of the features on this album are people that I am obsessed with musically. Daniela Lalita and Ethel Cain are two of my faves of all time. So it felt right. But who else is on my bucket list? Bjork, my queen. MIA, Dolly Parton. Yeah, those are my big three.
I can hear the Bjork song already. I can hear it.
Those are my big three. Nicki Minaj, Missy Elliott.
So switching into track 5, which is Don't Look at It. I love how cheeky this song is and how sort of in control you are the whole way throughout. In your own words, can you explain the story behind this one for the fans?
First of all, I will say that some people are like, oh, I thought you were tackling like more serious themes on this album. Like, why are you writing about having like titties in your face? And what I have to say to that is there is a place for eroticism in this post-apocalyptic world. There is a place for eroticism plays an important role in healing. I really feel that. And I think play and fun and queer joy and sex and like carnal desires, I think plays a huge role in just like happiness and hope. So that's how I would counter that. But this song is Pablo Vittar and I were doing the Lollapalooza tour around South America last year, a year and a half ago. I have no concept of time. And she has this friend who was wearing a thong out of their jeans, and the jeans were like halfway down their ass, and kept like leaning over and being like, don't look at my ass, hee hee. And I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. I'm gonna write a song about that, about having your ass out on purpose, like showcasing yourself and being like, ooh, don't look at me, oh my god, don't look at me, but like in a joking, teasy way. Like, obviously, like, my ass is out. It is the main display. It is the masterpiece in this gallery. But don't look at it. And don't look at it until I tell you to. Like, playing this, teasing.
Did you always intend to end it with that plot switch of, okay, no, go look at it right at the end, just to like flip the switch?
Yeah, it's about teasing someone. In a sexual situation, and my thong is out of my jeans, and I need to find this person, and shout them out because it was such a funny moment, and I wrote one of my favorite songs based on this interaction at this festival, and I'm kind of imagining this gorgeous queer safe space. And it's like immaculately interior designed, and there's mood lighting everywhere. There's gorgeous couches and these incredible textiles everywhere. And one of my favorite lines in the song is in the chorus, hold my body like a swordfish. She knows she got a catch. It's like kind of like
good.
those men that are holding up their fish in their dating profiles. I'm just imagining my girl holding my sexy body up like a fish, being like, yeah, look how hot they are. And I'm like, yeah, show me off. Yeah, and another two lyrics from this song that I'm especially proud of are Tony Hawk, I'm doing tricks until my tongue hurt, and I can't help that I want to be titty smothered. And I played this song for my mother, and I could see her, just like her thoughts. I could see where she was spiraling to, and she was like, how did we get here? How did we get here? How's my child come to this point in their life? And I feel good about it. I think ultimately she likes that song. The titty smothered line, I think that was a shock for her. Though I hope other people enjoy it.
Oh, they will. So track 6, Cheerleader. Now, you've said in interviews this song is a commentary on the need to be fuckable to be commercially viable. Was there a first sort of moment in your professional life where you realized this was the case?
Yeah, I mean, existing in an age of being perceived on the internet is, especially as a femme person, is just inviting the world to comment on how I look. And yeah, it's very painful. And I think seeing like women in my family getting older and moving through their lives and feeling like having conversations about them. I mean, I'm talking mainly about my mom, about her feeling like something was being taken away from her, and like her value was decreasing as she got older, and like feeling like I wanted to shake her and be like, you're getting wiser and you can have 100 million different evolutions in your life, and you are so much more than this, and how you're being perceived. You are like infinite. You are infinite, and I love you so much. So I think being very frustrated as well with how the internet like revels in the destruction of taking down women and femmes in the public eye, just like laughing like hyenas and tearing them apart and just loving it. Like, we have not evolved at all. I feel like we're it's like only gotten worse, really. And I and it's so disheartening. And whenever I get horrible comments, I think the only thing that brings me any peace is just knowing, like, this is a sickness of society. This is just a sickness, and it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me.
Nothing at all.
There's a lot on this album. I think that I kind of allowed myself to be ugly and grotesque and feeling like power, and that I'm more than what I look like, and I'm more than how fuckable I can be. And you notice with other pop girlies who start to dress and act and do their hair how they want to, and a lot of times, like, people on the internet, if that doesn't fit in with what they deem fuckable, yeah, they're like, how dare you take that away from me? Like, we miss the old you when you were fuckable and more like what I expected you to be. So yeah, I think that's pretty nasty side of the human experience. And
Completely.
in this song, we have the Beast. So the Beast is this hulking, watching, looming figure that's kind of on the periphery, and is watching everything. And the Beast is the male gaze, obviously, and he's watching everything, and he's just like lurking. And in the video, we showed this by using a lot of like VHS footage of someone watching from the forest, watching the cheerleaders.
It's very voyeuristic.
Yeah, it's massively voyeuristic and creepy, and I think that is the experience of so many people, feeling like you're being constantly perceived and watched. So yeah, I think it's kind of the cheerleaders are like this symbol of ultimate like ability. And for me, I also thought it was funny that cheerleaders are incredible athletes, like Olympic level gymnasts, basically. But when I did competitive cheerleading growing up, so it's like I've trained my body.
I was going to ask, so you did it?
Yeah, I did competitive cheerleading and gymnastics growing up. And so it's like you're training your body to be this Olympic gymnast almost. And then, but you need to be packaged in this cute, sexy little skirt and like a full face of makeup and like perfect hair. And I just thought that was the best way for me to tell this story was through the eyes of a cheerleader. These cult-like cheerleaders who are killing each other for the top spot, and the top spot is being like the Beast's like number one cheerleader. But yeah, tearing each other apart to get there.
Which is clear in the video because you mix Midsummer and Bring It On, like those two films coming together. It exposes both sides that you're just talking about now.
My two favorite films put together.
Track 7, Moonlight Magic. Similar sort of to Cheerleader and Don't Look at It, the lyrics are so direct. Are you that direct in real life?
Yes, I think I am, probably. I've gotten more direct as I've gotten older. I think my friends would probably say that I am a relatively confrontational person. In a good way, I guess. If someone has a problem with me, I'm like, let's sort this out right now. And then on the flip side of that, like in a romantic sense, it's like, what are we doing here? I got a crush on you. You're hot. We gonna do this or not? So,
too old to beat around the bush now.
Yeah, I think time is fleeting, and I just want to know. I want clarity. So, yeah, I think. Well, to be fair, I don't know. Maybe I'm fronting, but there have definitely been times in my life where I've been extremely shy, and it's taken me months and months to actually work up the nerve to talk to someone.
Well, in talking about Moonlight Magic specifically, like the production is insane, and Slinger is such a great fit for you as a producer and executive producer. What's he like to work with? Yeah,
I think he brings a lot of passion to this project. He really got into the spirit of things when I was like, we need to approach this album like we're scoring a film. And yeah, he really brought it. I feel like regardless of what the song is about, each song kind of is a cousin of all of the other songs on the album. Some of them are siblings and some of them are cousins. But there is a through line of like a sonic through line of through all the songs. So even if the song is about putting titties in my face, it still feels like it's in the Weedkiller realm.
Okay, so track 8, Miss Nectarine. This is my favorite song on the album. What does it mean to you personally?
This was my canon event of falling in love with a best friend as a baby gay, and not having those feelings reciprocated, which is just so classic. And grappling with the heartbreak of that, and also the added pain of this all playing out in the Bible Belt of the United States, and her parents being extremely Christian and treating me like I was a devil, and feeling like there was something very intrinsically wrong with me, and that there was, yeah, that I was doing something wrong, and not understanding my own feelings, not understanding why I was so jealous that she was flirting with boys. And I was like, what are these feelings that I'm having? And being very confused by that, and not having any queer representation in anything I had seen in the media or books or anything. Neither did my parents. So for me, I was just like so confused. And yeah, so this is a story I've been wanting to tell through my music for a long time, and I think we did it.
Yeah, I've never heard anything like this in a song before, and yet it instantly feels like so relatable. Like, even though it's so specific, there's so many elements of it that I think as a queer person I can relate to. I know so many people will be able to.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm really glad you like that song. Thank you so much.
I love it. And sort of what advice would you give to any queer fans who are growing up in similar environments?
You have the opportunity to craft your own family and create community and have a happy ending, and that it's not all tragedy at all. There's so much beauty in the queer community, and finding people that really like set your soul on fire and make you feel understood. Feeling understood is what every human being on earth wants, and there is a future of that out there for you. And yeah, if someone is not embracing the entirety of who you are and allowing you to change and grow and evolve, then they do not have a place in your life. And I think when I was younger, I felt so trapped, and I was like, this is me forever. Like, this is like, I'm gonna have to feel this way forever. And I wish I had someone in my life be like, no, actually, like, when you're an adult, you can go out and create your own family, and they will love you for like they will love everything in you, which is, yeah, that would have been nice to hear.
I can relate, yes. So track 9, Chokehold, Cherry Python. Now, this is another song that is so cinematic. It literally sounds like a battle scene. I know you talked about the opening track being a bit like a battle scene as well. Do you, I mean, we sort of touched on this with Don't Look at It as well. Do you envision a visual in your head when you're making a song?
I do definitely imagine a world. It helps me write when I can, like, I do like an exercise when I'm in the studio, and I will kind of close my eyes and plant myself in that world. And like, what am I smelling? What am I tasting, feeling, seeing? Emotionally, what am I feeling? And I like to fill in all of those details. And even if I don't use all of those details, it helps me to create a web of words and feelings and objects, and to really like flesh out all of those details. So it's a little story in my head that I can then tell a story. And with Chokehold, Cherry Python, I was writing this based on like all of my favorite girlies, like Tank Girl, Jinx. It was like Harley Quinn as well, Aster, my own character, and I created one big collage of these characters, and I wanted to. I have so many fight scenes on the album. There was a lot of anger that I needed to process in this story, and so it's kind of like this vigilante character that is an amalgamation of all of my favorite girlies. And I have this one little bridge in the song where it's menacing figures fall from the sky, symbols and sigils, I saw the signs, rats in the sewers, death on the mind, I've set my sights on you, baby, you're mine. So I'm kind of in this cowboy duel in the desert, and I've locked eyes with this Weedkiller, and I'm kind of smiling like a maniac, and My heartbreak for my fallen forest has turned me into this unhinged character, and I've set my sights on this Weedkiller, and I'm like, I am going to take you down, and I'm going to eradicate you from this land, and I am going to regrow this land. So yeah, this was definitely one of those scene setting songs on the album.
For sure. We need the full visual album because all the songs merit that.
Thank you.
And talking of the titular Weedkiller, how did you decide for track 10 on this song being the title track? And what does Weedkiller mean to you in the context of the whole album?
The Weedkiller itself, like killing off weeds, like what are weeds? It's all about like perspective. Like these weed killers, they think of all life as a weed, and so they're sucking this life force out of everything. And I use the weed killer to embody different villains, I guess, in my life. And a lot of this album is about reclaiming autonomy, like personal autonomy, my body, myself, as well as on a grander scheme. I think on a personal level, it was really, really cathartic. It was a huge release. It was really helping me process little pains and thorns that I had been carrying around with me, and extract them from my skin, and reclaiming my body as my own, which was really important for me. I think where I am in my life, I have removed all of those little thorns from my side, and not all. I'm still a work in progress.
We're all human.
Yeah, I can feel myself and touch myself and feel like it's entirely mine. And writing this album helped me get rid of that sticky residue. So that's kind of what the Weedkiller is to me, is the people in my life who have made me feel like my body and my choices are not my own. So yeah, this song is another fight scene. I told you there's a lot of fight scenes.
It's a lot of fighting, but there's a lot of healing as well.
Yeah, a lot. I think it was a lot of the songs were just a rage room for me, and I attached a lot of different heartbreaks in my life onto each of these fight scenes, and it helped me process them, as I said. But yeah, this one I'm pulling up the lyrics because I forget my own lyrics sometimes. It's kind of, my main character, Aster, has been iced in hibernation, and they're gonna like photosynthesize and grow and shoot roots out of their hands and just plant themselves in the earth. And they're like, I am here, and this is my home, and I am going to remove you from my home being my body. And yeah, it felt really good to write this song. It just kind of spilled out. I love when you're in the studio and it all just spills out and you're like, oh shit, there's a song, I guess. And it was definitely
stream of consciousness. It's so
yeah. And there's one lyric, it's like, I made knives out of broken ribs, and it's kind of like turning your own pain
exactly
into weapons.
Okay, so track 11, Won It All. I love all the sort of like video game-esque sound effects in this song. Mm-hmm. Why did you decide to add those sounds, and where did that idea come from?
I don't know if it was an active choice to put video game sounds in there. I think we were just playing around and I was like, ooh, I like those. I wanted it to feel otherworldly, and this song is about, it's kind of like a love song towards being alive. So I want to feel everything, even like the the bad parts and the sticky parts and the like nasty bits. And it's I think a lot of this album, as I said before, is allowing myself to be ugly and grotesque and kind of nasty and a little bit evil, and being like, that's okay to be that, because everyone is imperfect and a little gross, and it's okay to be that, because at the end of the day, it's okay to just be yourself. Just be, and allowing yourself to just be, I think, is much harder than it sounds. And I think I really love being alive. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool vibe. And I want to feel all of the nasty bits. So, and the good bits, because the nasty bits come with the good bits.
Well, part of why I think I sort of heard those sort of video game sounds is sort of the album, like a video game. It feels like a safe space you can dip into, like its own universe that I think fans are going to enjoy, like escaping into. I know you reference video games as well on Worms, saying you play your life like a video game. Are you a gamer, and what are your favorite video games?
I love Horizon Zero Dawn. I love all the Tomb Raider games. I love Last of Us. What else have I played? I really want to play Elden Ring and the new Horizon game, but I simply have not had the time. I got really into Animal Crossing during the pandemic. Stardew Valley.
Didn't we all?
Yeah. What else? What else was I playing? Yeah, I just haven't had a lot of time to play games recently, but they did very much inspire the album.
Well, so track 12, Possession of a Weapon. Now, this song obviously deals with a very serious topic, but I think like quite a lot of the songs on the album, even when you're delving into more serious things like Miss Nectarine as well, the lyrics are also hilarious at times. Like, what makes you love playing with that contrast so much?
I think I'm definitely the type of person to have a little giggle when I'm in a lot of pain, or when something really traumatic happens. I just have a little giggle. Which is definitely avoidance, but life is kind of silly. I think I am having a silly little time every day, and I think that laughing really helps me deal with my life. But I think Possession of a Weapon, it's kind of this allowing myself to be like a nasty, like grotesque, bloody monster, I guess. Because it's like, if that's how you see me, if you see my body as this weapon, if you want my flesh, you want to control my flesh, and you want to regulate. Sorry, you want to legislate my intimate choices, then here it is. I'm going to give it to you on a steaming plate. Here is my uterus. Here is my flesh. And I'm pulsating it in front of you and squeezing my blood everywhere. And I'm just throwing menstrual blood everywhere. And I'm becoming this wild animal. And I'm just screaming. Yeah, I wrote this song like a week after finding out that Roe versus Wade was overturned. Very sad moment in the United States history. I feel so sad for the people that this is going to affect the most. And at that time I felt super hopeless. I think it's hard not to, because sometimes you feel like a little tiny bug in a giant's forest, and you're like, what could I possibly do to make any change right now? Feeling so overwhelmed by that. There's a line in the in the song where it says, "Don't rain on my paper mache." And it had felt at that time that all of this progress we had made, I say progress in quotes, was it was almost like that progress was made of paper mache. And that's how strong it was to the actual, like, natural disaster, which is, I guess, literally the Supreme Court. So it's like, oh, you think you have control over your life? Well, that's hilarious, because your life is made of paper mache, and my power is made of a f***ing tornado. And I will rain on your paper mache, and it will be a sludgy mess, and I will destroy it. Because how dare you think that you have power and autonomy over yourself?
So, final track, Dying Star. This is like the most vulnerable song on the album. Was that important for you to end on a vulnerable note?
I think it was really important, because there's a lot of hopelessness in a lot of the songs on the album. And I think ending I was very intentional about the last lyric of the album being, "I want something soft." So I've been hardened. When I say I mean my post-apocalyptic lead character, Aster, has been hardened by this wasteland, by the stripping of their wings, by losing family and their lover. And at the end of the day, they just want something soft. They want a soft place to land. And this song is probably the closest song I have ever gotten to a love song. It's about finding a new home that grabs you in their soft baseball mitt and takes you back to earth, and kind of cradles you there, and is like, you don't have to be so hard anymore. You don't have to be so angry, because I can hold you here, and you're safe here, and you can just be. I think just being able to just be, for me, that's the sentence that has really summed up my 25th to my 27th years on the earth, is allowing myself to just be, and whatever comes with that. So Ethel Cain is one of my favorite artists of all time. She has these incredibly haunting vocals and is so talented and fun to work with. And I feel like I feel so grateful that she lended that talent to me for this song, and collaborated with me. It was a really special song to write, and it's about leaving this dying planet. This, I guess, there's scientifically doesn't make a lot of sense. You're leaving this dying planet, but you are a dying star. Leaving this burning world for a new home, and crash landing into it. So leaving pain and mistreatment, and coming home to someone that is kind to you and wanting something soft. So, yeah.
No, it's beautiful. Okay, well, just finally, Ashnikko, what do you want people to take away from this album?
I want people to be able to tell their own stories through these songs, because that's the coolest part about listening to music, is being able to listen to your favorite song and look out the window and imagine that your life is a music video, and like acting out the whole music video in your head, and it all centers around your own narrative. And I think that's why I listen to music. I listen to sexy songs and I imagine my own life, and I want people to be able to attach their own stories to these songs. And I think that's the coolest part about music, is being able to tell your own stories back to yourself.
Well, I've been living with this album for the past 2 weeks, and I already feel like the songs are sort of intertwined in my life, and like even just going for a run and listening to the album makes me feel so empowered, and it's healing, and I think you're going to do that for so many people.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy that you like it. Thank you.